Hey team, Yasin here, and in this training, we're going to be going over the 6 W's of transformation. Now, you might think you might already be familiar with this because we did reference the 6 W's when we spoke about them in module number 2. However, it's going to be important for you to pay attention to this training because the 6 W's of becoming are actually different than the 6 W's of transformation. Okay, so this training is going to really lay down the foundations for what the 6 W's of transformation are. And in a moment, you're going to see how the 6 W's are really your secret to being able to coach and transform someone's life in any area of life, and how the 6 W's actually create a curriculum automatically for you. Okay, so the 6 W's are literally how you can create any transformation program within 10 minutes, and that's why they're going to be so awesome for you to be able to learn and understand. Okay, so just remember, the theme of this module that we are going through is really laying the foundations for you to be able to become your best self, aka your own personal transformation, and the foundations for you to be able to be a successful remote wellness practitioner. So you're off to a great start. Just keep on going and keep on showing up to the classroom. I'm going to make a point for reminding you that more consistently and more regularly. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the 6 W's of transformation explained. So what are the 6 W's of transformation? Well, they are also known as the 6 W's of knowledge. And the reason why they're known as the 6 W's of knowledge is because the 6 W's are considered the basic questions from which all other questions come from. Okay, so the 6 W's allow anyone to be able to get the most important information that they need about a topic, a situation, a scenario, whatever it might be. The 6 W's provide that foundation. So they're used in journalism and research and investigations, really any field that requires learning a lot of information in a small amount of time, all uses the 6 W's, but really any learning process in general, right? Not just any field that requires learning a lot of information in a small amount of time requires these 6 W's. Okay, so without knowing the 6 W's about a topic, it's really not possible to be able to have a complete answer around that topic. Okay, so what are these 6 W's? Well, the 6 W's, as you may already be familiar with, are what, why, who, how, when, and where. And yes, I know one of the 6 W's that does not start with a W, but it does have a W in it, so close enough. So you might recall this similar framework being used in the 6 W's of becoming when we were talking about applying these same questions to the becoming process. Okay, so even though what it is that we're talking about with the 6 W's of transformation is not exactly the same as the 6 W's of becoming, there is a similar concept there. Okay, so what I want to go ahead and do with you next is I want to go ahead and help you dive into each of the themes of the 6 W's and really start to wrap your head around how these 6 W's are going to be your secret to creating any transformation program. They really are the backbone of the transformation programs that you're going to create for yourself, as well as the transformation programs that you're going to create for your clients. Okay, so number one, I want to go ahead and emphasize here that it is important to note that the 6 W's do not always come in a specific order, okay? Because sometimes when you are learning about a specific topic, it does make more sense to have certain W's come before other W's, okay? So sometimes we do put them out of order. And so unlike the 6 W's of becoming that we spoke about, how there was a waterfall effect, right? We talked about the what, why, who, and then we kind of left the how, when, where more towards the gut and the trusting of karma, God, universe, whatever that might be. And so we spoke about that in the becoming, but specifically with the 6 W's of transformation, what ends up happening is that sometimes it makes more sense to have different W's in different orders, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go through a couple different examples here. And for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to go ahead and use the topic of nutrition as an example within each of these 6 W's that I'm about to walk you through right now. So the very first one that we're going to go ahead and talk about is the what, okay? So the what question from the 6 W's of transformation can be primarily applied in two ways. There's many ways it could be applied, but primarily it is applied in two ways. The first way that it is applied is more so in a general definition sense, right? So that's going to be, what is nutrition, right? What is nutrition is more of a definition point of view that we are going to go ahead and utilize the what question. And then the second one and the second usage of it is the specific tactics around that topic, right? So what do I do with my nutrition, right? What should I eat? What should I not eat, right? And so as you're going to start to see is that this is not an exact science when you are using the 6Ws. There is an overlap in there, right? Is what is nutrition? What to do with my nutrition? How should I do this? All of these things kind of overlap within each other. So don't get too caught up in trying to be like super overthinking any of this. But that is really the two primary ways that the what question from the 6Ws is utilized, especially when we're going to go ahead and talk about creating transformation programs with these 6Ws, okay? Now, the next one that I want to go ahead and talk to you about is the why question. So similar to the what question, the why question can also be primarily utilized in two different ways. The first way is really emphasizing the general importance and understanding of the why behind the topic, right? So understanding why is nutrition important, right? Why is nutrition difficult for many people? Why is it that diets don't work, right? So this is the general importance and general understanding of the topic as a whole. Then the second reason and the second way that the why is applied is understanding the student's why, right? So much of what we learned about in module number 2, right? We talked about uncovering your personal why. We talked about having a powerful, clear why behind the reason you are doing something, right? Having a purpose. All of that really falls into this usage of the question of why, right? So we talk about, hey, why is transforming my nutrition important for me specifically, right? Why do I really want this, right? Why is it that I have this reason, and what is my why behind my why, right? And so this is why I said don't stress too much about the order of the questions or trying to overthink too much, because you can see here, this appears to be like a what question, but it's under why, right? And so don't get too confused with it. Don't take it too literally either. It's kind of just a general gist of, hey, does this feel like a what question or does this feel more of like a why question, right? That's the bucket that it belongs to. So those are two of the primary ways that we utilize the why question inside of the 6Ws of transformation. The third question that we're going to go ahead and talk about next is going to be the who question from the 6Ws of transformation. And the who question really refers to the becoming, right? It's who you are and who you are being in the process, who you are becoming in the process. It's who you are being when you are doing the actions, right? If you remember everything we spoke about in module number 2, right, the becoming process, all of that really falls under the category of who. We spent a lot of time emphasizing the importance of the who question inside of module number 2. And so all of that is going to apply right here. And so examples of that is, who am I being when I am eating, right? Who am I becoming in my relationship with movement? What are my limiting beliefs around food and movement, right? What is my identity when it comes to food, right? And specifically, this is very, very important, is because who you are being when you are eating is many times as important as what you are eating, right? And so it's very important to emphasize this, right? And so this can also be related to the macro of when we talk about the big 4 areas of life, right? And we talk about, hey, let's go ahead and do a life inventory, or let's go ahead and evaluate how your life is going as a whole. Many times what we will do is we will put that underneath the category of who whenever it refers to more of like life coaching, macro life evaluation, that kind of stuff. We typically will put that underneath the who category and underneath the who bucket. Okay, so that is the who question from the 6Ws. The next one I want to go ahead and talk to you about is the how. The how question from the 6Ws of transformation really covers all of the tactics related to the topic, right? And it's really one of the 6Ws that people are the quickest to obsess over. And those are usually the ones that people who are not familiar with what it means to achieve goals, people who are not successful in general, people who are just like very obsessive over the how. They're just like, how is it going to happen? What's the secret? When in reality, successful people know that it's not about the secret or it's not about the how, because most of the times the things that need to happen are really simple. Right? Most of life is simple, right? It's not necessarily easy. And so many people who are beginners, not only in business and income and health and in any area of life, they are very quick to obsess over the how. They want to know the how immediately. And so if you remember what it is that we spoke about inside of module number 2, we spoke about the common number 1 deadly pitfall mistake that so many beginners in any area of life make, which is that they have like a 50% clarity around what it is that they want. They don't even know why they want it. They don't even know who they need to become in order to have the what. And they just immediately start to obsess over the how, right? And we spoke about all of the pitfalls and why that is an absolute disaster inside of module number 2, right? And so we spoke about all of that. And that's why it's so important for you to also remember that most of the time, it's not the how that is the issue, it's the being, it's the who that they are being when they are doing that prevents them from being able to get what it is that they want, right? And so this does not mean, I want to go ahead and emphasize this does not mean that the how, right, the knowledge behind the how is not important. It doesn't mean that, hey, it doesn't matter how you do anything. The knowledge is irrelevant. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that it's just important to not give it overemphasis, right? As long as you are doing things in the right order and you're giving the right balance to all of these questions. Now, it is sometimes important though to make sure that we do give some little bit of a taste of the how to students. Otherwise, what ends up happening is that they end up getting disheartened, right? And so this applies not only for you as an RWA student, but also when you start to design your own transformation programs for your own students. If you see what it is that we did inside of the RWA program, is that we didn't just start off the program and talk about, boom, let's talk about the 5 problems with the society's paradigm and all that kind of stuff. What we did was we gave a little bit of a taste of the how, right? We talked about the spreadsheet and mapping out your goals and your future in remote wellness. And so for students, when they're coming to you for that transformation, in the beginning, because they're beginners and in their head, they're all obsessed over the how, what you have to do is you have to give them a little bit of the taste of the how, even though you as a remote wellness practitioner, even though you as a coach know that the how is not the most important thing at the stage that the student is at. You have to give them a little bit of a taste of that. Otherwise, students might end up getting disheartened, right? So you got to kind of lead a little bit with the tactics and then go into what it is that they need. And so I just want to go ahead and emphasize that we're talking about the how in the correct order, but then sometimes we do sometimes lead with the how in order to be able to give students a taste of what it is that they actually want. Okay, so example on here is how should I eat? How much should I eat? How should I measure my food? How should I do my movement? Those are all examples of the question of how. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop now into the question of when. The question of when is pretty straightforward. It's all related to timing, planning, scheduling, and making time for, right? And so the reason the when question is important is because even though we might have the best what, we might have the best why, we might have the best who, we might have the best how, but if we never actually make it a priority in our time, then it won't actually matter. And so an example of this is, when am I going to prep my meals, right? When am I going to have time to be able to plan my meals, right? Other examples from other areas of life might include, hey, when am I going to be making time for my health? When am I going to be making time for my career? When am I going to be making time for my relationships, right? Is there a regular schedule or a cadence to what it is that I am doing inside of this area of life? That is all going to be encompassed within the bucket of when. And then the question after that is related to the where. And the where question is all about environment and it's all about location. And so most people don't realize how much their environment actually impacts their ability to succeed. And so if you have a box of cookies or you have a bag of chips on the counter, I'm telling you that 100% absolutely you will eat more chips and cookies than if they were at the very top shelf of your pantry, right? And so out of sight, out of mind is very much a real thing. And that's why the where bucket, the where question is so important, right? This also applies to whenever we're traveling, whenever we are on the go, right? We have to adjust our strategy and our plans accordingly in order to be successful. All of that is going to be within the where question, and all of that is going to be within the where bucket, okay? The other question I want to go ahead and bring up right now is, are all W's created equally? Okay, this is a common question that when students learn about the 6 W's of transformation, students have. And the answer to that question is no, right? Some W's will obviously be more extensive than others, right? If you think about it, the what and the how is always going to be so much more in depth than the where and the when, right? So the where and the when sometimes is very straightforward. And then the what and the how, there's a lot of information typically within those buckets, right? And then a lot of times the who question will be based on the same principles. And a lot of those principles are what you learned in module number 2 when we talked about the transformation paradigm, we talked about the becoming process, we talked about the becoming journal. Those are pretty much going to be the foundations and the principles that are going to make up the question of who. When we talk about false beliefs and we talk about limiting beliefs and we talk about identity statements and becoming, all of that is within the bucket of who, okay? However, the goal is always the same, right? The 6 W's of transformation will help make sure that regardless of any topic or any area of life, you are able to cover all of the knowledge that is going to be needed for yourself and your future students within those topics, okay? A couple other points that I want to go ahead and mention on here is that the 6 W's of transformation, even though we are going to be applying them within this module, specifically within the domain and the area of health, what I want you to know is that these same 6 W's can be applied to all of the big 4 areas of life, okay? So what, why, who, how, when, and where, they can also be applied to all of the different areas of life. And when you get to that point, many times in the future, right, after you have mastered health, I want to go ahead and emphasize that you're not coming into this program at this time and saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and help somebody with their relationships, or I'm going to help somebody with their wealth, or I'm going to help somebody with their connection to something greater, right? Right now, you're mastering health. However, these same 6 W's are going to be what you can and will utilize many moons into the future when you start to create other transformation programs in other areas of life as well, okay? So like I said, as you have learned and as you learn the 6 W's framework as applied inside of health, you will start to see how you can coach students in other areas of life in the future after you have mastered health. And so really getting down solid the 6 W's of health is going to really provide you that framework and that foundation to understand this at a deep, intimate level, okay? Next up I want to talk to you about is regardless of the niche. It's also very important to note that regardless of whatever niche you decide to choose or whatever niche you decide to go into, whether you even decide to go into a niche, right? The 6 W's are still going to be applicable for you, right? So these techniques, these strategies, and these tools that you are going to learn within the 6 W's will be applicable for every type of student or niche that you have, right? Maybe you decide, hey, I want to focus on helping busy professionals have better health, right? I want to help women after pregnancy regain confidence and lose weight, right? I want to help single mothers transform their lives through health, right? I want to help stay-at-home moms, right? Or if you decide I want to help everybody, no niche at all. Instead, I want to just help everybody with weight loss or whatever, right? That doesn't have to be what you do. I'm just giving you an example. There are literally unlimited numbers of niches and transformations that you could provide. But what I want to emphasize in here is that it does not matter what niche you decide to go into or no niche at all. The same frameworks and strategies are going to be applicable. And that is why it's so absolutely critical to make sure that you cement and really absorb all of the information that is inside of this module, because it's really going to serve you for a very long time. Next up, what it is that I want to talk to you about inside of this training is the 6 W's of health transformation. So we spoke about how the 6 W's can be applied to any area of life. What I want to go ahead and dive into right now is give you the overview of how we are going to be applying these 6 W's within the domain of health, because it's not going to be what it is that you expect, right? Because even though we could apply the 6 W's of transformation to health and just possibly divide them like this, right? We could say what it is that you should do for your health. Why is health important? Who are you becoming in your health? How do you do things in your health? What to prioritize in your health? Where to work on your health, right? We could do that. But the thing is that we run into the issue that it becomes very broad. And so instead, what it is that we're going to be doing here at Remote Wellness Academy is that we're going to go ahead and divide the area of health into what it is that we call pillars. And what that's going to do is going to make it more actionable, and it's going to go ahead and make it more tangible for us to be able to improve in our health, as well as to be able to help our students improve in their health as well. Okay, so there are 4 pillars inside of the area of health. And that is exactly how we're going to be dividing this module up. And those 4 pillars are going to be nutrition, sleep, movement, and recharge. Okay, so as you go through this module, you're going to see that we are applying the 6 W's of transformation to the pillars of health. So rather than applying the 6 W's of transformation broadly to health as a whole, what we are doing is we're dividing them within these pillars. Okay, so specifically, we're going to ask ourselves a question within nutrition. Well, hey, why is nutrition important? What to eat, how to eat, who to be when I'm eating, when to eat, where to eat, right? Specifically around sleep. Why is sleep important? What are the parts of sleep? How to sleep? Who am I being when I sleep? Right? When to sleep, where to sleep. Same thing for recharge and same thing for movement as well. So you can see here that instead of applying the 6 W's broadly across the entire category of health, what we are doing is we're really breaking it up into pillars. So that way it becomes more palpable. It becomes more tangible. It becomes more practical for us within those 6 W's. And so that way we can really take the transformation to the next level. Okay. The next thing I want to go ahead and talk to you about right now is how the 6 W's are going to connect to specifically your transformation program that you build for your students. So later on inside of this program, inside of module number 5, you're going to learn how to be able to create your own transformation curriculum. Okay. And don't worry, we're going to be providing you all of the A to Z templates, the done for you templates, the examples, transformation curriculums that you can take and customize if you wanted to do so. Don't worry, we're going to give you all of that. But the purpose of me talking about this right now is I want to go ahead and connect module number 3, which is the module that you're in right now, to module number 5, which is the module we're going to come to later on inside of this program. Okay. So this module, the science of transformation, is basically going to be your toolbox. It's going to be your knowledge bank from which you are going to go ahead and pull from when we actually go ahead and build on what it is that we talk about in the process of transformation. Okay. So all of the things that you're going to be talking about, right, when you actually deliver this to your students as a coach and as an RWP, that knowledge is going to come specifically from this module that you are in right now. And so that is the connection between the science of transformation and the process of transformation. So that's another evidence as to why it's so important for you to take this module and see yourself going through it and cement it for yourself. Because how in the world are you going to actually teach this when you actually get to module number 5, the process of transformation, if you yourself have not gone through your own program, right? And so what you're going to be doing inside of this module is going through this program as your own transformation. Now, a real quick tidbit that I do want to go ahead and mention is that we don't usually explain the 6 W's to the student when we are doing this in a one-on-one format. So when you get to later on inside of this program and you start to have clients, it's not like you're going to have a training where you go over the 6 W's and you go over this elaborate thing, right? In a one-on-one format, it gets very confusing, okay? So usually the 6 W's is something that we use behind the scenes as remote wellness coaches and remote wellness practitioners, right? So that way we're designing the programs using the 6 W's, as you're going to notice throughout this module, right? But in some instances where it might be helpful for students, we might use the 6 W's and explain it to them. Or if we're doing the hybrid model, we might use the 6 W's as a visual cue for them as well, okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about inside of this training is really emphasize the importance of becoming an RWA health student. Okay, so obviously as an RWA student in general, you are an income business student, right? Really the goal and the promise of this program is to help you make 6 figures as a remote wellness practitioner, to really give you the knowledge, the tools, and the skill set in order to do that. However, in this section of the training, what I want to go ahead and emphasize to you is for you to remember the 2 journeys that we spoke about in module number 1, right? We talked about the 2 journeys, and those 2 journeys was that you are going to be going through phase number 1 for 2 people, the journey for yourself and the journey for your clients. And so this module, the module that you are inside of right now, is going to be a major big piece of what it is that we talk about when we talk about the journey for yourself. Because if you are at the stage in your life right now, as you listen to me right now, and you don't feel as well as you would like to, if you don't feel as healthy as you would like to, okay, this is going to be the module in which you need to double down, okay? Because after this module, we're going to really be going more into the tactics around transformation coaching, right? Specifically, module 4 is going to be about the art of transformation coaching, how to be able to deliver, right, in the way that you say it. And then module 5 is going to be about the process of delivering that transformation coaching, right? So you're really not going to get any other chance except inside of this module to really work on your health, okay? So as you learn about health inside of this module, it is going to be a double-edged sword for you, because that means that once your eyes are opened to the 6 W's of health, and within the pillars of the 6 W's of health, it means that you now have a responsibility to practice what it is that you preach, okay? Now, the good news about this is that every single one of the coaches here at the Academy, we are experts in not only business and making 6+ figures income online, but we are also experts on health and wellness. And so this module is going to be the perfect opportunity for you to really focus on your own health transformation, right? Maybe you've been looking to lose that 10 pounds that you put on after the holidays. Maybe you've struggled in your own ability to get into physical shape and be in the physical shape that you've always wanted, right? And so for the next few weeks, what you are going to be doing is you are going to be embarking on this journey for yourself by becoming what we call a mini RWA health student. Now, obviously, our main focus here at RWA is to focus on helping you learn to make 6+ figures income in remote wellness, right? Our main focus is not to help students with their own health inside of this program, right? We used to help people and students specifically focus only on their health in a 6+ figure company that we used to run called NutriFit Wellness. But because your main focus in your transformation program is going to be to help students with their health, right? That's going to be your job to your students. It's going to be very, very, very important for you to prioritize this. And so what we're going to do over the course of the next couple weeks inside of this module is we're really going to go ahead and put on the mini remote wellness coaching hat, okay? So here at RWA, you're going to basically become like a health student, okay? And so obviously you're not going to be a full-on health student like you are going to have with your students, because your students are going to be full health students with you. But what you're going to do is you're going to basically become a mini health student within this program, okay? So don't worry. In the next training, we're going to go ahead and adjust your becoming journal to help you focus on who you are being and becoming in order to be able to attain this target, right? So what I want you to go ahead and do, and you're going to see it inside the action steps of this specific training, is you're going to set a target for yourself over the next 90 days for you to go ahead and hit. And so that is going to be your health target. And that is going to be primarily what you are going to focus on, because this module is going to be kind of like your mini health transformation. And it's going to be absolutely critical for you to practice what it is that you are going to be preaching. So for right now, what I'm going to ask for you to do is really in the back of your head, set that intention and really start to percolate what is going to be for you, right? What that 90-day target is going to be for you, and to really start priming your brain to focus on your health going forward for the next few weeks and for the next few months. And so with that being said, as we close out this training, what I want to go ahead and know from you is, what is that health target that you are going to be setting for yourself over the next few months, right? Is it going to be that you want to lose more weight? Is it that you want to go ahead and move a little bit more? You want to do X number of steps every single day, right? You maybe have a step counter. You want to do it like that, right? You want to get specific about that. And so what I'm doing here is I'm combining the action steps in this training with the student community post. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make this a requirement. It's going to be a required comment as a mini RWA health student, because before, if you remember, it was 1 and 2, and those were kind of like sentence starters. We kind of left it open for you to kind of just give us an idea of what your thoughts are. But now you're starting this journey of becoming a mini RWA health student. You're going to have to specifically let us know, hey, what is your health target? I want you to give it to us in full, okay? And then number 2, how are you going to take becoming a mini RWA health student seriously in your life as you go throughout this module, okay? And so in order to be able to adjust this for this specific module, we're going to go ahead and have a little bit of a different format. For this module, because you are becoming a mini RWA health student, right? And so as your mini health coaches, what you're going to have to do now is you're going to actually have to answer these questions in full. And so what that means is that we need the answers to these questions to make sure that you are making proper progress in your health journey throughout this module. And so the format to answer these questions is that you're actually going to number them underneath the student community post inside of your comment. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to do one, have your answer there, and then you're going to hit Shift Enter on your keyboard, and that's going to go ahead and create another line. And then within the same comment on another line, you're going to have number 2, right? So number 1, and then number 2, and then you're going to have your answer on there. So unlike in previous engagement posts where it was like, hey guys, this is just a sentence starter, just let us know the gist of what it is that you want to do on here. Now that we're taking this health journey more consciously, and now that we're taking this health journey more seriously, I will need you to go ahead and answer these questions in full, and make sure that you do use Shift Enter on your keyboard to start a new line, so that way you can actually number each of your answers within that same comment. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Let us know if you need more clarification or technology support on this, but that is how you're going to go ahead and take these engagement questions more seriously as you start to give us the data and the information for your mini health journey throughout this module. Okay, so that was this training, the 6 W's of transformation. I will catch you on the next training.